Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
How is your week starting off? Happy Monday.
Back to business for now, right?
Trying to. Yeah, we're going to do that. Here's my fun fact. We were talking about this during the break. Somebody in our Twitch chat room. By the way, you can watch all of these shows, not only on Twitch, but I do a daily replay now that you can find on YouTube. Just search Tom and Dan Live. But you can also watch it live on Twitch. We're actually live right now. And my new fun cleaning product of the week is the new Mr. Clean Freak Spray.
All right.
Hey, Butler, can you grab that for me? Yep. By chance? Thanks, buddy. I want to show this to you guys. Look, they're not a sponsor, but I wish they were because I could get down on some of that sweet. I'm going to assume this is a Johnson & Johnson's product or something. What is this? Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
But this is my spray. Now, the way that this sprays is unlike any other spray. It doesn't spray like anything else.
No, okay.
Butler, we're going to need a rag so Tom can try this.
Okay.
You're going to need to try this spray. This thing sprays a little bit different. This is Mr. Clean Freak Deep Cleaning Mist. This happens to be the lemon zest. It comes in two varieties. All right. Here, let me move some stuff. Move your paper.
This may shock you, but I don't use cleaning products that much.
Okay. Well, hey, now would be the time to start
Yeah, I know.
because they're in demand right now.
My wife, she's more of a product clean. I'm more of just a pickup.
You're a straightener.
Toy. Yeah, straightener.
She's a cleaner.
Yeah. She likes to clean. Although when she cleans the house, she wipes everything down, but it still looks
greasy?
messy. No, not greasy. It just like there's still stuff everywhere.
Oh, you wipe around it.
And
She
I
doesn't
mean-
lift the piles to wipe under them?
I'm like,
my
it
wife
still
yells
looks
at me
messy.
for that.
I don't care if there's no bacteria. I guess more now. But
Like, okay, if your Instapot...
I think you're both doing it wrong.
If your Instapot is out on the counter, do you guys move it, spray it, put it back?
what's an Instapot?
Or do you spray around it? You don't have an Instapot?
I probably, but I don't know.
Like a
exactly
pressure
what
cooker? Crock pot?
Crock pot we have. Don't use it
I
that
don't leave
much.
it on the counter though. I put it away when I'm not using it.
Yeah.
What about your air fryer?
I put it away when I'm not using it.
Don't
I don't
got
have
that.
I don't have a ton of counter space in my current house, which is why I'm looking for. a new
We don't
house.
either. We have a center island, but you know what? I don't even like the center island. So I want you to try this spray.
Yeah, okay.
Because I want you're a...
Okay.
Right. Why does that spray better?
It's got,
It's like rapid spray.
is there if I unscrew this?
No,
is that
never
oh,
unscrew it.
Okay, all right. Is it just a tube?
I don't know what it is.
Do you
How
have
does
to
it work?
prime it?
Nope, you don't have to prime it.
Better sprayer technology.
It's a better sprayer technology, but that's why I like the. Ooh, that smells good. Is that lemon zest you're using?
Yeah.
Boy, that is good.
So
See, all I ever want when I buy products is I want them just to increase the usability by less than 1%. That's all I ever want.
little things in life.
Because nothing ever changes. Everything stays the same. Now, you can't really say that anymore because shit's a-changing, but got to edit that out. But like right now, I'm just saying this, they added a little bit of better spraying technology makes it a better product.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
The spray's pretty damn good.
What can you add to your life right now that's 0.5% that would change it immensely?
I think everybody should fine tune. I mean, this goes back to increasing your quality of life right up until the money you spend has to be exponential to get a minor increase. For example, you should have like the most comfortable bed sheets that you could afford before the incremental increase in comfort doesn't make sense by the massive increase in money. For instance, like if you get the bamboo sheets.
I have the bamboo sheets. I'm a big fan of the bamboo sheets.
They're not that expensive, right? You can get...
they're not very durable, though. Your elbows will eventually wear holes in them if you sleep in the same area. Can I ask you guys a bylined or sidelined question about your sheets?
Okay.
Do you guys have your fitted sheet? Does it poof off every now and again? from moving too much in the bed?
Yeah. The poof's off.
How do they like? I used to back in the day. I used to have these little strips that look like, or little elastic strips that look like garter belts.
They still have those.
And then they have the garter belt snappy thing on there that women use on their.
I hate those things.
On their fancy, their negligees. And you'd clamp them to your fitted sheet, and it'd give an extra bar of like holding on technology underneath the fitted, so it wouldn't pull off. But I don't really want to use those because I always thought that those were kind of for dum-dums.
Well,
they're also just annoying.
Or babies.
Yeah.
The fancier fitted sheets have that extra elastic thing.
Oh,
that
do
holds
they?
our-
You know what they should do on fitted sheets to make it better is on the corners, like those bags that have the cinch. You know what I'm saying?
Cinch sack.
Like
like you pull it.
yeah, so
like a
like
string
really
bag, a
tight in the
string
corners
bag.
underneath. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of using
Yeah.
the little clippies, give me a cinch on each corner underneath so you don't see it and it gets it as tight as you need it.
How about a fitted sheet that goes all the way around?
What do you mean?
That's
bag.
A bag. Like
A bed bag.
a mattress.
Right? Daniel Dennis. Hold on. What's the name of my company? D Technology. Bed bag.
Hard to get on.
No. You lift. It's easy. See, you got tricked. You lift up the end, put on your bag, go to the other side, pull it up, put it in your bag, and then you've got a long rope like a wetsuit zipper. Remember when a wetsuit used to have a string?
I've never
Still
worn a
does,
wetsuit.
And you go all the way up the back because they knew that you wouldn't be able to reach it and you go surfing by yourself, which is really dangerous. But you grab that string and all the way up the back.
Yeah,
but there's just got to be a better way because I must move a lot when I'm sleeping. So my fitted sheet comes off. And once it comes off one time, like when the ladies from Her Majesty Services, they come and clean my house like once a month. And then they change our sheets, which is embarrassing because then they get to see my mattress,
Nah.
which is embarrassing.
Well, what's embarrassing about your mattress?
Well, it's just, let's just say it's not pristine anymore.
No.
There's a lot of shades.
Yeah.
A lot of shades on there.
50 Shades.
No, not 50, but a solid 40.
You're getting there.
Shades of
different
yellow.
shades of yellow. It's like it goes
Red.
it goes everywhere from white to
Brown.
to like a eggshell. Little bit of brown, little bit of red, little bit of green.
Not purple.
No, never purple. But my mattress is purple brand.
So, there could be a way better technology with fitted sheets.
I feel like that one is somewhere where people are kind of dropping the ball. I feel like that all of this time we've had fitted sheets and they still poof off like that. And why am I poofing them off? Is there a correct way to sleep?
Well,
am I moving too much? Do you guys sweat when you sleep?
Not really,
no.
unless I hadn't drank for a couple days.
Yeah,
then I'll
when you're
sweat
drying
at
out,
night.
yeah.
But I make it cold at night.
How cold?
69.
Whoa, that's really cold.
I have a fan on me.
Well, we have a fan on, but I don't think the wife will let it get any cooler than right around 72.
Oh no, I need it cold to sleep.
I had
Like a cave.
that 69 is too cold.
Yeah.
Like that's unreasonable for
But
Florida.
then you snuggle, and then it's perfect.
Well, no, when you have to, I yell at Crystal all the time because I'm sitting on my couch and I'm putting a blanket on.
I like that.
Now it's hot outside, and I'm like, why am I have a blanket on? Like we are cooling the house that we're paying for so cold that I now need a blanket. How about we put it to the temperature that is like perfect without a blanket?
But I'm with
This is
Sam.
ridiculous.
I'm with Sam though because there's no such thing because cool with a blanket is different than the same temperature inside the home.
Yeah, I know.
69 with a blanket is different than if the interior of your home were set at a solid 72. Which is probably what you're acclimating to.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same. It's the same reason why I sleep really well if I got to do shorts, so I got to do boxers, tank top, sheet, blanket, other blanket, foot out. The foot out's what regulates the entire other, like
You got
the
a
parts of the
ventilation going on.
concoction. Yeah.
We made ourselves too soft with this. If we got to the point that we can cool our houses to the point where we're too cold, and we're like too cold in here, put it up like we did it. We paid to do it.
I'm going through some of the people in the Twitch chat room. Man, Sam, 69. Everybody's saying
Look,
they run
mind
it
your business. Put
76
your AC or whatever you
degrees,
want.
75 degrees, 75, 76, 75, 76.
That's fine.
69. That thing's got to run all night.
I don't even think I could get it to 69. Like, I don't think it'll go there. Like,
It'll go.
Yeah, how low will the one here go?
This
Here
one gets
again.
to like 50.
yeah, because it's too small. That area is like an ice box.
Some people are. You got one person checking in at 68. They had to
right.
one up you.
Well, what about this? I had guests over my house one time, and so they woke up in the morning, and you're doing that thing where like everybody wanders. They got kids, and so we're like they're having coffee. I'm just standing in the kitchen, and they're like, hey, how was last night? They're like, it was fine. You know, like a little hot. We're used to sleeping in cooler temperature.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, feel free to turn down the AC.
No.
No.
You ask.
Huh?
You ask.
What-
What do you? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you guys normally keep it at? I'll be sure and turn it down to that. Never give them free reign.
Right.
Well, they told me they were like, we usually sleep with our house in the 60s, and
See?
and I was like, the 60s?
Is that a thing?
I'm like, that's a too steep of a request when you're staying at someone's house. Like, put your air
Yeah,
conditioner
that's
down to
like
the
sharing
60s.
your wife with somebody.
That's
You know, like you were like.
that's too much.
You mind if I root around in your wife's negligee drawer?
If
You sooner get control of my thermostat, you DD.
you're like if you're at a barbecue and you're like they're cooking hamburgers and you're like I usually have filet. Like, it was like, all right, we're having hamburgers. This is good enough. Like the house is like 72 at night. In the 60s, too cold.
Yeah, I don't.
Agree to
My
disagree?
wife won't let me do it. No, I want to do it. I just don't.
Leave 'em
Number one, I don't
north.
think I'd be able to afford it.
Well, you guys have bigger houses than I do
Yeah.
too, so that makes a difference.
There's no way I could do. I mean, I guess I could keep one of my 15 floors
Yeah.
at 69. I guess I could try that. I'd have to turn the air off on the other 14 floors, though.
But you have to when it's in the 60s. You're like, I mean, that's hoodie weather, right? Like,
Well, it's either 69 or 70. That's about where we
Yeah.
stay at night, but we only put it down that low right before we get into the bed, and
Okay.
then we turn it back up as soon as we get up in the morning.
So
I think
just for
we
sleep.
just sleep hot.
yeah.
Do you wear like sweatpants?
No, not typically, because
Okay.
that'd be too hot.
Yeah. Some people hot sleepers. They get red hot.
My wife's
and,
like that.
Yeah,
She gets way too hot.
Now, what do you have your temperature on?
She makes us keep it like between 74 and 72 is as low as it'll go. 72.
yeah, I said I sleep at 72.
Yeah, 72 is not bad. I mean, it's not. It's certainly not like freezing me out of there. You know, like
It's
American.
pretty cold though.
Well, American-
at 72, I'm I'll literally.
I like
put a
blankets
hoodie
though,
on.
so it's not cold. So like,
Right.
but American Air and Heat, they came and then they had to do that. We had a clogged drain line and they had to look at it, so he had to turn it on so he could kind of like navigate. And I was in the bedroom. This is like last week when we were taking time off. So he turned it down. Like I guess he turned it to max. So it started getting really cold in there, and it did put me to sleep. I was just like, oh.
It's so much nicer.
Yeah, it does. It is nicer.
Yeah.
It's definitely nicer to be colder.
What I like when you are able to have like your windows and doors open, and then the inside of your house is the same temperature the outside.
I like that too.
And so
Football
then-
watching weather.
Yeah. Then it seems like a better way to live, rather than the artificial AC. Cooling. Like I just like when it's
Natural air.
yeah. When
That's hard to do in Florida.
It is, yeah. You rarely get it. Like 2 times a year in spring or fall, you may get those like 72s, or in the winter, I should say, like fall or winter, you'll get those 72 high during the day, and then open up all the doors.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's
There's
the
a nice
same.
breeze. Yeah.
And then in the morning when you're cooking breakfast, you'll open it. We did that. We still kind of do that now, but you've got this weird Florida threshold where if you get up early, if you have kids, namely, you're going to be up because they're up. But if I'm up at like around 7 or so, and I'm in the kitchen cooking, I can open up the windows and the door and cook. But right around 8:30 or 9,
Oh yeah.
ooh,
That sun's
gotta
coming out.
you gotta shut the door.
No, yeah.
And it pains me to do that. You almost get acclimated to it where there's a sweet spot where even if you're inching into like 76, 78, 70, 80, you're not sweating yet because you're okay.
Yeah.
But as that sun starts to come up a little bit more, it starts to get hot.
We got humidity here, which
sticky.
changes everything. Dude, and like I remember being in San Diego, they don't even have ACs in their house. And they're
Yeah.
like beach houses, there's no AC because there's the same GD temperature all the time, the
Why
whole
houses
year.
in Boulder didn't have AC either. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, because it never get, and like in August you'll get like 3 weeks of uncomfortable, but that's
Yeah.
it. There's no no reason to spend $7,000 putting AC in through your house or whatever if only 3 weeks out of the year that you may be uncomfortable. But the rest of the time it's heat or windows open, fine.
Yeah, 100%. Well, since we're, back at it, it's a Monday. Should we ease into it by rocketing through some emails and some voicemails and just see as many of these as humanly possible we can get through? Maybe we'll bounce between voicemails and emails, kind of like we do on the Friday Free Show. If you guys are looking for more content to listen to, if you go to tomanddan.com, search online, search YouTube, Tom and Dan Live. All of our video replays are up there, even our Uncensored Friday Free Show. We do a bit on the Uncensored Friday Free Show called Mail on Mail, and we're going to do the cleaner, more radio-appropriate version of that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tom, Dan, Butler, and Sam, and Mad-Eye Mumbo. I was just wondering, during this, what you guys are up to. I assume you're staying home a lot. And I do have a suggestion. On Hulu, there is a show called Nathan for You, which used to be on Comedy Central. It is by far one of the greatest comedy shows of all time.
Does it sound like he's talking to us from another dimension and the ghosts are like pulling?
It is weird.
Yeah, listen to it. It almost sounds like he's coming from another dimension.
If you haven't heard of it, Nathan pretends to be a business consultant for small businesses, and he comes up with unique ideas to get their business going.
I remember watching that. I really enjoyed that show.
Oh, was that the one where like
He did like the poo flavored
yogurt?
frozen yogurt. Yeah.
Okay. So he just does dumb marketing stunts that can increase businesses,
And I think he's just
awareness,
a creative stand-up comedy guy.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think he just wrote a relatively funny show.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I remember the one that I saw was and I think I even talked about it on here, the poo flavored yogurt.
Yeah.
And-
We did. We talked about it on the show. Although, like, marketing stunts will only do like something for you short term. It will not guarantee the longevity of your small business.
No.
You could get a bunch of attention right off the bat, which this show was about. It's like, oh, look at poof flavored frozen yogurt got a bunch of attention. Like, yeah, it will. But then it just comes down to, are you offering a good product at a good price
Right.
with good customer service? Like, it always comes down to that. I was thinking about that with like Brian Zymel, which he was just texting both of us that getting refinancing now, getting money out of your house if you need it is a good time.
They're trying to make some alterations to that to make it easier for people in need.
But his like Streamline Mortgage, the reason he's had such a success with us, our marketing definitely helped, but the fact that he has good customer service and does a good quality job, like that's the reason.
That's
he's
the
success-
real
Like,
reason.
like if any business does that, now, it does help with marketing, and like obviously him coming on with us has changed his business, but it's because of what the job he
Correct.
and his team does. That's the true reason why it's continued to be successful. Because if he did a bad job, no amount of marketing would ever help you.
That is true.
Because and especially nowadays where people talk to each other on social media and leave reviews, and that's where the peer-to-peer I use Brian, like you, like that makes the biggest difference.
The word of mouth aspect of it is always really good. I'm a little leery of the online reviews sometimes, though, just because like so many of them are so like some of them are so absolutely insane, the things that they were mad at, so you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's like
if I go and buying something, and tell me if you guys do this. So if I'm looking for something to buy, I'll look at most of the time I usually don't, but I started like maybe I should do this. This is how normal people do it.
Yeah.
So I'll look at the reviews, and there's like 2 1-star, and the rest of them are like 4. I'll go look at the 1-star to see if they're valid, or if they're just crazy people complaining about stuff that that the actual person, the company, or whatever the product had nothing to do with. Like
like one, and I don't even remember what this one was for, but it was like for a barbecue restaurant. of some sort. None of the ones that we know, but I was just like, you know, like when you're like with your wife and you're like, where do you want to go? Let's see what's in the area. You know, like it was like a barbecue restaurant. It was like 1 star, and I hit the button to see. I'm like, what is this person talking about? And they were like, it was a barbecue restaurant, smelled like smoke. And I was like, okay, well, that's an insane.
Yeah.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Fresh smoked barbecue smelled like smoke. Okay.
If they got really bad service, I was like, well, that's just one person. Like, it could have been one waiter or waitress that was maybe doesn't work there or had a bad day or were just a D head that day. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't really tell me anything about the overall restaurant or how the quality of their food is. Or, you know, like you have to read through a lot of this stuff because people complain about everything.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Sam, you got an email for me? While you're getting ready, I can jump to this one.
I got one.
Okay, you got one?
It says, this message is directed to Dan primarily.
Oh, God.
My wife just opened a fitness studio, insert oh no here, and we're trying to figure out the simplest way to have live streaming fitness classes. It's my hope that Dan might have a suggestion or two for either platforms or equipment needs.
Well, I mean, I'd probably have to watch your wife doing some of the classes first.
Send us a video
of your wife doing the classes. But in order to figure out what camera's going to be best, I'm going to need her to be nude.
Front and back angles,
Front
right?
and, well, side.
Okay.
Actually,
All angles.
make her stand nude and then stand facing the camera, no makeup on, and but bright lights on her body. You remember this idea. And then on a microphone, I'll come on, I'll go, turn to the left. And then she'll turn to the left. And we'll look at her for a little bit. And then, all right, go ahead and turn to the back. All right, now bend over. Now spread your cheeks.
No, well, I don't think it's part of the workout.
That's what they do in all the videos.
Any calendar edition.
Who would have thought they're getting cast for a calendar? This guy's going to ask me to do. Do they do that for the guy calendars too? I don't feel like the firefighters do that. When they do a firefighter calendar, I can't see Shorty parting it. I can't see him doing it. Well, actually, I can with Shorty.
Are you parting the cheeks for February? What is it? What month is that?
What is that? That should be
Cinco de Mayo. What is
You
that?
paint your butt like a heart. You open up your heart.
What is that, Columbus Day? Put a 3/4 hat on it.
Also, sir, I don't know if you know this, but you can just go on the internet and just
Google
search
this.
how to stream something like.
It
literally, I mean, you go webcam.
Well, there's really
go to the
library.
library.
We use a pretty lean. I think our stream, that we run on Twitch and on YouTube, I think it looks really good, and I'm proud of it. Not only because I think it looks really consistent and really clean, but I'm proud of it because it was cheap.
Yeah, what were these cameras? $50?
$50 a piece. Yeah,
they're Logitech.
They don't make them anymore, but I went to look at a new one because I thought about adding one more, and it's just $70. I mean, they upped the price and got rid of this model, but
yeah, I'm sure you could find infinite amount of webcams on the internet.
These stands were $12, cameras are $50, the hub is like $30, and then you need good Wi-Fi. That's your main cost, good Wi-Fi, and run everything through an Ethernet cord. Do not use wireless. It's not going to work right.
If you cannot put together some sort of streaming aspect nowadays, I don't think you have any business doing it, right? Because it's so easy. Like, listen, I have to ask Butler how to get into my mail certain days and stuff. And
that's just your paper mail. That's just your paper mail.
If I needed to, I can go online and just go to a YouTube video and be like, how to, what do I need for streaming? I'm sure there's
10,000. Well, that really slow us down if you're starting to use YouTube videos for everything you don't know.
Well, I
do that in here. Like, seriously. But what you're saying, there's a lot of validity to that because when something breaks in here and I don't know how to fix it, I usually just Google how to fix it, and then some kid has figured out how to do it. And you just, like you said, you just step by step watch the video, and if you follow the steps and go slow, you'll probably be able to figure it out. But yeah, I would say just go get yourself an inexpensive Logitech webcam. Make sure that your internet is pretty fast, and you should be pretty good to go. Is he wanting to do this in place of like her students coming to the gym? Is this because of the coronavirus?
Could be. This was only sent last week, so.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to get ahead of this. Well, it's too far gone now, sir. Sorry. You missed the boat.
Also, if you're like a personal trainer and you have clients and you want to train them without being in the same room, like going virtual is definitely the way to do it. except for the fact that if you go on the internet, there's 10 million personal trainers giving training lessons for free. You could find anywhere.
Why are you?
I'm just saying they're
come
going
on.
to find out that there's ways to do this for free without paying.
And they're famous instructor.
Yeah. So that's the
Ooh,
problem.
I can do yoga with Ryan Seacrest.
It's now you can get that same service for nothing, and you can get it from any person you want.
killing this guy's dream.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I know.
I mean, now if your
But
your
if
wife's
she's-
clients
if
really
she's
enjoy
doing this nude.
yeah, you can find that too on the internet.
No, do you have it? Oh.
Oh yeah.
But the fresh stuff, because I get bored if it's old.
Well,
I don't know about you guys, but if I'm watching a video and that first screen comes on and it says like, it's got the government warning and it says like 07, I'm like, ew.
Let me ask you this. So there's a lot of people talking about putting together puzzles and
Yeah, I've
things
seen
like that.
people putting them together.
Because
Puzzles.
obviously you need time to kill. But
I'm not there yet.
are those?
I'm not
You'll
that
get to
bad.
puzzles.
I'm not. No.
I don't think I'll ever
Video games.
be able to get to puzzles.
You can't. You don't have
No.
the attention span.
But also,
You are a puzzle.
there would be no in my life. I could be. I've lived in so much chaos that I've done this to myself, and probably that's the case. But I have an infinite amount of things I need to do before I could ever sit down and be like, well, nothing to do. Got to do this puzzle.
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of it, especially for people with kids. Like, kids are getting restless.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
People are running
Oh.
out of things to do.
No, with the kids, I do the
Yeah.
puzzle and stuff like that. But I'm saying personally, like as an adult.
You're not a puzzle guy anyway.
No, yeah. Oh, I guess also I don't know of a time where I could sit down and be like, well, nothing to do, got to kill some time. Like I've never,
Let's get to puzzling.
I couldn't imagine needing to kill time because I always have something to do. But again, I may be the fact
Well,
that
instead of
a
watching
general-
one of a million documentaries that you watch, maybe
Yeah,
you throw
yeah.
a puzzle in there.
Yeah. It's just
But
so
why?
boring.
Well, I'm just saying there's a possibility that you do have some time.
You know what's better than a puzzle? A picture that's not broken into 1,000 pieces.
Also, at least the documentary, I'm learning something, or I could get something
Video
out of
games.
it.
You got to do video games.
Yeah,
It's the
I know,
new
I just-
puzzles.
But the video games, in my mind, although more fun because I have played video games, still I'm like, I could be doing something that would.
Better your house, better your car,
yeah,
better your
anything.
life.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to just
I know,
chill
do
out.
nothing.
Yeah. Like I did
I,
Legos. I did some Legos. Well, but only because like my daughter and wife were doing Legos.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like a D-head if they're doing something and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so I started working on, I have an expert level Lego set that's of a Volkswagen Bug. So I started working on that. Legos are easy. If you just follow the directions, it's mindless.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I
mindless.
almost went through a divorce after putting together
Really?
Steamboat Willie with my husband.
Oh, really? That's not even It's not
complicated.
huge, though. But yeah,
No,
the pieces
yeah.
are so little.
And the smokestacks actually move and everything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a whole thing.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah.
You're not a Lego man?
I'll do it with the kids for sure. I'd never do it.
Tom hates
for
fun,
myself.
though, we
Yeah.
know. Not a-
Anything fun?
Not
I
big
don't-
on fun. Let's try this voicemail, my friend.
Hey, Tom and Dan. Was listening to BDM show from a couple weeks ago about Tom's PP beer prank. I was just calling to tell you guys when I was real little, like toddler, I loved eating cheese. And my brother handed me something one day and said, "Here you go, here's some cheese." And as I started to put it in my mouth, slow-mo, my mom comes running over and no, and knocks it out of my hand. Turns out it was an old crusty white piece of dog doo-doo.
What?
So I was wondering if you guys ever had like a cousin or older sibling or anything like that played a prank on you that was something like that. All right, guys, talk to you later.
The old getting tricked into eating something weird.
I gave my sister a dog bone, like the dry. Remember the
Milk
big
bones?
milk bones?
Yeah.
We used to have a Rottweiler named Bear that was.
Is that the one that stood on top of you?
Yeah.
That's the one that you'd
It
have
lived
to-
in the garage.
You'd have to. Oh, just
Garage
like Garage
dog.
Cat.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you and your wife are together. Is you had garage dogs, her mom had garage cats. You combine it.
Oh, Garage Cat back, by the way.
Yeah,
It
he's
returned?
back.
And it was in the neighbor's house.
In their
God.
house?
It killed the neighbor.
next door because my neighbor, or not mine, but my mother-in-law's neighbor is like they recently sold the house and
To Garage Cat, who was able to get a loan.
and a flipper bought it, and so they just been like gutting it and they got the big dumpster outside and all that. So the Garage Cat must have got out and then was in the neighbor's backyard for a while, then probably got hungry, and then so back in the garage now. Back there.
Well,
Thought it was like good and gone, but
you need to burst its eye.
It at this point it's a stay away scenario.
I mean, it'll die eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Or it'll live forever.
Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. Like it's been living in the wild for a long time. That's tougher than than most.
Does it have
house
a
cats.
collar?
No. This thing is feral. Like
Okay.
that's why it attacks people.
Gotcha.
And you can't touch it, or it'll bite the hell out of you. And it's got massive tumors behind its eye and brain. I guess
okay. Yeah.
it's gone crazy.
A lot of cats get that way. I've never seen a dog that way, but as many veterinarian hospitals as I used to date a vet tech, and I've been around, I used to volunteer. And there are a lot of, I never saw it with a lot of dogs, but you'd always see the cat who had a crusty face, and it would it does a lot of breathing. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get cat aids.
Yeah, they get is that what happens when you get cat aids?
They also are independent creatures, so I feel like they're a lot more feral cats than dogs, obviously, and then they'll just live out in the wild and get themselves in bad condition, and then they'll end up, you're like, oh my god,
You're like, what? How did you
There's
get
plenty of bad shaped stray dogs in bad neighborhoods, trust me.
this? Not as
Yeah,
bad
sure.
as cats. The cats that I see, they get the yellow crust and the
'Cause
weird
they have
breathing.
more litters, I think.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they just reproduce faster.
I remember I've told you guys the story, but my buddy in middle school, he had this cat that kept he was very poor, and so
Gross.
his parents didn't neuter the cats or whatever, so his cat just kept getting pregnant.
Yeah,
first
that's what I'm
sign of
saying.
And then
First sign of a poor person is how they treat their animals.
they would have litters of cats, and then they the mom would just
Give them away.
leave
Yeah.
it, be like, "Get
Cats
outta
for
here."
everybody. She's like Oprah cats.
And then they'd spread around their apartment complex. So I remember going to the house one time, the cat's pregnant again, and then it had a litter of babies, and one of them had long rabbit leg, like a mutation,
Sweet.
and it would crawl across the carpet with his hand, like it was a bad shape, and then
And they were letting it grow to full mutant maturity.
no, like I believe.
We're going to let him crawl the carpet a few more times, then we're going to take him out back and stomp his paws.
No, you gotta remember, this is Miami. Is that not a redneck scenario?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to kill him.
Yeah. There it is. So I think the real man Chilean boyfriend smashed it with a encyclopedia. Out on their porch. or
That's
something.
what old man. There's a Russian man that
Yeah.
remember that thing a couple weeks ago that a listener told
he
us to
didn't
look
give-
up.
he
That's
didn't
like
care.
a creature that if you take sperm and you put it inside a chicken's egg,
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
create a creature. I watched this video of this Russian. For a while, the only way a real man would kill a smaller animal was large books. You take a
That's a
large
thing.
book. It is a thing. It's like what Spanish real men do to
Yeah,
kill mice and
He
rats.
used the
and small
biggest
rodents.
encyclopedia.
Yeah,
they
or like
have.
if your parakeet gets it's all screwed up, you get a big encyclopedia, like at least the A through
Because you know why? 'Cause
T volume,
in
and you whack it.
if this was 200 years ago, you would pick up the closest boulder to
Right.
you because you were in the wilderness or whatever. Now, poor people that tend to live
Yeah.
more in a apartment complex community.
There's
Well,
not
we-
encyclopedias now, though.
Yeah,
There's no
poor people.
boulders.
We've given all the poor people all of our books because we're a digital.
And the heaviest, biggest thing they have is an encyclopedia.
There's
Or a pot.
Yeah,
A
there's
big,
a
heavy-
possum. I think there's a rabid possum in here. Bring me either a pot or the first volume of the World Book Encyclopedia.
I think shovel comes into play a lot more than.
You don't want to bring that inside.
yeah.
That's your
Oh
outside
no,
shovel.
you don't.
Also-
you don't do it inside.
Apartment complex, you don't have a shovel. They
Yeah.
don't have anything.
I don't have a shovel. I live in a townhome. I don't have a shovel.
Yeah, there's no reason for it. They have a yard.
Yeah, I got guys that do that for me.
This, no reason for a shovel or anything else, because usually you'd have some sort of gardening tool that's sharp or whatever. All you have is a book.
or like cinder block, right?
With
You
no
don't wanna
cinder
break-
block.
Yeah, but you don't want to break your cinder block. That's to keep your boat from rolling out of your driveway.
No boats.
Everybody knows it. No, it's a John boat.
Yeah.
Not even that.
No engine.
This is a real poverty
Just for
scenario.
floating.
I remember they had buried their dog in the well. I say they. It was me and
Wait, you buried the dog?
and my buddy's sister. Their dog got out.
Oh
Remember I
my
told you
God.
this.
This
And-
sounds like the worst rendition of Stand By Me ever.
And we I remember I went to his house. He was a band friend in middle school. He's actually an accomplished nurse now. Like worked his way up in Miami.
Has that phrase ever been said?
But so they had this dog. It got out. It was a tiny little Chihuahua, whatever. And
encyclopedia.
we were looking for it and found it in the middle of Kendall. Which was a big street, it got hit by a car. And it was dead, upside down, and bloated already. And I remember they were crying, and then they got a garbage bag, and then I had to go pick it up and put it in the garbage bag.
With your hands?
Yeah, they were
Okay,
too.
am I blacking out? Because I've never heard this story.
Yeah, I've told the story on the podcast before.
Samantha?
It's not ringing
It's
a bell
not ringing
yet,
a bell
but maybe
yet.
something will click.
Butler,
Yeah.
you remember this story?
Picking up a chihuahua from the
A bloated
street.
chihuahua? I don't remember.
And I remember
any of
even
this.
in middle school, I remember it was the first time I held like a dead animal that big.
Oh my God, I've never
And
heard
it was
this story.
bloated, and so I put it.
Could you
You
feel
did it
the-
like when
like
you
a
pick
water
up dog
balloon.
doo-doo, right? Where you put the bag over and then you scoop around.
Could you
You're not-
feel it swishing back and forth?
I used.
Was it like holding a half-empty bottle of wine?
I used like a Big Johnson shirt or whatever to pick it up. Like we didn't have a glove.
Not the
And,
Big Johnson shirt.
Like
That's Big Johnson billiards.
He was
Poker in the rear.
Now that I think about it, like they lived in a pretty rough apartment complex and didn't have much. The parents didn't have a car, I don't think. Anyway, I picked it up, put it in the trash bag. Then we're like, they came up with the plan. Like we have to bury it. Again, we're an
Well,
apartment
you gotta
complex.
pop it before you bury it,
Yeah,
right?
I don't
No,
know.
don't let the gas
You can't
out.
bury a balloon.
I even
You gotta pop it. Yeah.
in middle school version
Gotta
of Tom
drain
Van, still a dead, no motion. I was like, why? I was like, we'll just throw it in the dumpster. I didn't understand.
I feel like the more I talk to you, I feel like somewhere down the line, 50 years from now, I'll fully understand how bad it is inside there.
No, it's just a nothing.
I know,
It's-
but I
Void.
think there's one little cabinet that no one can see in the back, and if I could open that tiny little mousetrap door, bad in there.
And then we, because they lived in an apartment, it's not like there was like the local creek or woods we could walk. It's Miami. So,
Well, you're not gonna throw it in the creek.
well, we went to their playground area where sand
no.
was.
Yeah, bury in the playground. That's oh my God.
And then they were like,
using tried and true Tom Van 20-year-old Tom Van logic.
because they also didn't have, again, any digging utensils or whatever. So him and his sister.
Wait, you were a kid.
Well, I was in middle school,
Yeah.
so I was
That's
probably
a kid,
like,
man.
Yeah, you're a
10
kid.
to 12.
I was like 13 or 14, maybe.
you were
even
that
13.
old in middle school.
Well, yeah.
Well, hold on.
He
It
dude.
was like 10 to
you're-
12 and 13.
He graduated
Okay.
7th grade at right around 19, 20 years old.
I was
Oh
in
my
eighth.
God.
I
Yeah.
think I was 12 or 13, but I think 13. But so they started digging a hole in the playground, like
Oh,
whatever.
that's bad.
Oh my God.
And so I'm holding now this dog now bloated. It's probably like the
Yeah.
thing is 2 feet.
You
I mean,
gotta, you
huge.
gotta let some air out of it, Brady.
So they realized quickly that it wasn't that deep. Like they got to the floor limestone. like they only had
Yeah.
6 inches of actual play sand in the ghetto apartment complex. So then they thought about it. They didn't want to throw it in the dumpster like I kept telling them to. So then we walked to the closest abandoned field behind some bus stops, and then
Tied a string to it and let
no.
it float away.
I. Being the strongest one, I whipped it around my head like
Like a bolo?
like
Like you're David trying to kill Goliath?
like a what are those things called?
Shot
Like a
put.
hammer throw.
Yeah,
they
shot
do
put or
and I hammer threw it into the
Like Thor throws his hammer into the sun.
probably only went 10 feet into the bushes.
Oh, so you didn't even bury it. You
No.
just
No,
you just threw it.
Threw it. Yeah. We didn't have anything to dig. I was like, you're gonna dig through a rock with your hands.
Okay, we got to take a break.
No.
I apologize for doing this,
Yeah.
but we're way late.
was
This is
it.
a great story. That was
that was it, yeah.
All right, it's a great,
Hammered, then left.
great spot to leave.
Never talked about
We'll
it.
take a quick break. We'll come back, finish more of your voicemails and emails. When we return, you're listening to A Corporate Time. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I am Dan.
Tom.
Let's jump back into an email. We have limited time. We got to take another quick break, but we'll come back and finish all these out.
Okay, this one says, "Hey gang, Dan has used the 'what the hell is that?' I thought the B was white and 'what the F?' and now the Mike B sound drops fairly regularly, but one of my favorites that burned white hot has been neglected. We haven't heard 'I am a very good bad boy'
I got rid of those.
'Hey, hey, hey, what are you doing with your life?' from the Indian music video in years. Please play it. If you don't, I'll probably call in for the Christmas Wish episode in December and ask to hear it instead of getting new teeth."
Okay, well we're gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to dig that back up again. I deleted that because
Why?
I get bored and I like
Yeah.
I don't save all of them, and we only have a limited amount of like silly drops. Plus, we're not a wacky morning show, so we don't really rely on any of that kind of stuff. Other than like I use a soundboard just for like intros and stuff like that. I have this one, but I can only play a little bit of it. What the? Okay, see, I can't play much of that one. And then the other one that is this guy.
What the hell is that?
Okay, that's a horribly abusive mom and dad who had a YouTube channel where they're pimping out their kids. I think it was called Daddy of Five or something like that.
Yeah, they
and
play pranks on their
yeah.
kids, but too far.
they
Like,
went way too far and were like just screaming obscenities at their children for pranking them, making them think that their kids had stained the floor with like what was invisible ink or something. It was ridiculous.
You know, you're right. Being that's an old school like morning show type of deal where you play drops.
Well, you have a sound bank of it. I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
it at
Yeah,
one time
yeah,
when I
yeah.
worked for Drew's show. I had a digicart, and I swear to God, I must have had 1,000. That's a lot. And I had all of the different ones. Like for the most part, unless it was something like that I didn't use very often, I had a binder, and I could flip through real fast and find they're all alphabetized.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about something, I could jump around real fast. There is an art to being able to pull that kind of stuff up quickly, or know what the number is, or know what it's called.
Yeah, or
and
the
I was
skill.
pretty good at it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fun,
yeah.
man. Like if you get really into it, like for a while, I didn't talk as much on Drew's show. I only hit drops, and I got really good at knowing how to he's talking
Weave
about
them in there,
sports.
yeah.
I'll throw some football in. Oh, he's talking about the Beastie Boys. I'll put a drop. I found all these
That
different
used to
little
be
things.
a skill.
Yeah.
That probably
That's
a dying
gone.
art.
You were
yeah,
a soundbite DJ.
I was indeed.
Although I remember listening to talk radio, and when you listen to shows that did that, you would expect those drops, and when they didn't happen, you'd be disappointed.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it almost psychologically trained you to hear the drops, and then when you didn't, you were like, oh, what? Like it was something like you
Yeah.
learned to enjoy it. Now I don't know if it was. The fact that it was, a well-timed drop, though, is...
It can add to the conversation. The
Yeah,
worst feeling
funny.
is when you pulled up the wrong one, or if you got it too late.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like if you were talking
There's
about
only a
something and I was
small-
trying to pull it up like really, really fast, and then you went to break. Like if you were the host and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
working
yeah.
for you, and you're talking about, let's
Dude,
say...
I used to watch you on the Monsters do it.
it's terrible. And then you're going, and then they go to break, and you're like, because you tried so hard to pull up that one little 2-second drop of, okay, I'll make up for it now. Like,
Yeah.
Because you only have a certain time period that it'll be funny. It's like timing on a joke. You don't hit that time
Yeah.
period, it's gone. You
Yeah.
never
It's
get
past,
it back.
yeah.
Chris Fisher in our
Well,
Twitch chat room, he says Stern still does it religiously. Yeah, but he's kind of the
star-
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
the guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
kind of the guy that did that.
He's why everybody started copying.
yeah,
him, you
yeah.
know?
So for him to continue, I would expect him to do that until he dies, right? Like,
Yeah. But then that won't continue to be a thing, right? That'll be a genre of talk radio. Oh my God!
that sort of stuff. Yeah.
That will fall out eventually, right? Or like the podcast that went from like that style radio will still kind of adopt. Corolla does it.
It's
because
influences. It's no different than let's say a band like who are those kids that sound exactly like Led Zeppelin?
Oh, God. It's like a person's name. Well, I'm not going to think of it now.
Yeah, but they sounded. There've been many bands that are like that.
I wonder if
But like, it's just influences, So eventually you'll get the podcasts that were influenced by 90s style talk radio. Then you get the guys that are influenced by NPR, and you get the Greta Van Fleet. That's the name of the band.
It.
Yeah, they're just mega influenced by that. So I think always the drops for talk radio will always pop up, but they'll never be as prevalent as they were in the 90s because it was so infinitely popular and new.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Also, the style in which the show was done in lent itself more to that. It was but out of necessity, because you took a lot more calls. Your breaks were set up different, and you actually had like a producer or a person that was just in charge of that and did nothing else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
it's a fun job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if I had my pick.
Wasn't like Jackie the Joke Man?
Fred. It would have been
Fred. Okay,
Fred still does it.
Yeah.
And he's still probably the best. If I ever emulated my style after anybody, it was Fred. But what's funny is that early on in my career, and you guys can laugh at this all you want to, I can remember taking home the pieces of paper stapled that had the list of the drops. I remember quizzing myself on the numbers. Like, do you know Applause is? I still remember some of them. Applause was 1001. I remember Drew's
did it for years.
Drew's Esquivel theme for Punch 'Em Up Live was 1002, and I did that deliberately so the most used ones where I knew exactly where to go. I think the intro was 1000, 1001 was Applause, 1002 was the ending theme song.
And what's weird is people may think that it's like a huge board with like a big
button that
label.
says what it is.
Yeah, it's like laughter. Like you had to switch a switcher
or type it in.
And the board was like, it had like 15 buttons or whatever it is, but
that's exactly right.
You had to switch the actual knob over to the group of buttons that you wanted. And I remember
you had one button hotkey searching, but that was something that they added new, where you'd be able to. You couldn't search based on what the name was. You had to search based on the number.
And it was like
so
90s technology too, right?
Oh yeah, you couldn't type in Applause. You had to type in 1001.
Yeah. Right. So you had to know the number.
You had to know the number.
It eventually got to digital, because I remember when I was producing.
We got to take another break. I'm sorry. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about this because it's kind of interesting. We'll be right back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We have a guest on the line. I know you were talking to this gentleman during the break.
Yeah, and basically me and Daniel and all of us decided, like, hey, if we can go back to business as usual as much as possible, that'll be what we'll do.
Probably the best thing we can do for you guys. Of course, if you need anything or if there is information we need to get out, you'll be the first to hear that. I guarantee it. But
there's tons of other avenues you can go for serious information during all this. So most
major news sites, including Google, Yahoo, sites like that, usually in the upper, the very, very tip top of their website, they give you a tab to click that will go directly to the government information that you need to know. And that's probably for your benefit. Don't get your information from any place other than a vetted source.
Yeah. And so we just decided, like, let's just, try to make people laugh. But if we do have any information that's pertinent to the situation, we'll get it out. And we have to... know some tax information because Bernie, our accountant, called us last week and like, hey, there's some things that people probably need to know about. So we have Bernie on the line from OrlandoCPA.net. He is our accountant, has been our accountant for years now, and he's got some pertinent tax information, some changes, some new things. How you doing, Bernie?
Hey, I'm doing good.
So, Bernie, first off, I did see that they extended the actual deadline to file your personal income tax returns. Is that correct?
That's right. They went from April 15th to July 15th. And they also extended the time to pay. Like a lot of people pay their taxes with their tax return. So it's going to be the July 15th as opposed to April 15th. So that 3 extra months, they're not going to charge any penalties or interest. It'll be considered that it was paid on April 15th.
Gotcha.
And filed. So and normally if you don't file your return by April 15th, you want to file it later, you need to file an extension. That's not necessary right now. So that might have come into play in July 15th. If you're still not ready, then that's probably when the extensions will be filed.
That's
My guess is that'll push it out to the end of the year for people that are doing
Push it out.
extensions. But there's no reason to. Well, there may be some reasons to do that, but that being said, if you don't know if you owe some taxes or not, you should get your tax return prepared to see if you owe or if you're getting some back. You may be getting some back, and that money may come in very handy to you right now.
Oh, yeah.
I like to push it till July 4th, and then when
Push it to the limit, yeah.
When fireworks are going off, I'll be like, oh, God, I made a mental note to remind myself fireworks mean taxes, and then I better get on doing something, right? Where's my receipts?
That's a good plan.
And then I'll look around and then be like, oh.
I got nothing.
Yeah, like your wife was in here. Like, she's already
All
done.
right, guys.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Yeah, Andrea came in. Andrea came in this morning, and I'm like, "What are you doing here? Quarantine! Get the hell out of here!" And then she was like, "Bernie said we needed to sign something," and she printed it and she signed it. And she's doing her due diligence. I was like, "I don't know what the hell's going on."
Yeah, she's awesome, Daniel. I don't know how you were so lucky.
Oh,
I tell him all the time,
know.
Bernie.
I know.
Because he's got the best one. His wife does everything for him,
No, she's not the best.
So organized. And you
You've been
should
spending a lot of time with Bernie, and let's just say big hands, if you know what I mean.
But I've waited way too long.
Got him.
In fact,
You don't even know what taxes are.
my wife told me the other day. She's like, "We got to do our taxes, our personal taxes," and I'm like, "Wait, just wait until they postpone it because the corona, because I think they will." And I was like, "Yes."
I've been not doing anything.
Yeah.
I haven't paid any bills. I
I already did all my taxes.
I run my lights 24/7. I run water out of my bathtub, just overflowing out of my windows. It's just
By the way, in horror movies, when they inevitably leave the bathtub water on because either someone's dead in the bathtub or because they turn it on and and then it always overflows, and then there's always that scene where it gets to the top and it's like,
yeah.
They don't have the little drain thing that
They
keeps
do, but it's not strong enough. It'll come over the top.
Oh,
Well,
wait.
most murderers will plug that for
okay.
effect.
Because
put a
What are you
tampon.
talking about,
So
drain thing?
I've got a question though. Do they do that before or after they file their taxes?
Sorry, Bernie wants to get back
Bernie's
to
like,
business.
"Hey, this is my 15 minutes of fame, and I don't care if the goddamn world's burning. You stay on topic."
No, enough with your stupid bathtub. I'm talking about the thing that's under the, it keeps it from overflowing.
But Bernie's gonna come down here, big in your face.
I don't have one of those. I don't know what that is.
You know, that round thing.
Let me come over to your house
It's a
and you
drain.
take a bath, and I'll show you where the tub thing is.
Everybody's got it. It's below the actual.
It's below the faucet. It's above
round.
the drain. It's round. There's a hole in the bottom of it. The
Yeah,
water goes through.
Yeah.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah, so it keeps it from overflowing.
Yeah.
Hey. You don't have that?
Oh, you don't have that?
What?
They can't build a tub without that. You gotta get the hell out of that house.
I'm
It's a death
trying.
trap. It's a death trap.
Built in the 50s.
Well,
Bernie, do you have one of those in your bathtub?
You got the so it doesn't overflow.
I don't know. I just use the shower, so I have no idea how that.
When's the
stuff
last
works.
time you took a tub bath?
He's too
Bernie?
big. He's a giant.
Yeah, he is a giant.
Yeah, I don't know. It probably. Gosh, I don't remember.
Yeah. You gotta. I know you need 2 tubs. If you know what I mean.
So
Yeah, it might have been back in the days before we had the running water. We had to pour it into one of
Yeah.
those tubs
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God.
I can
That's how
see
you
Bernie
had to do
being
it.
a
Oh my
bit of
God.
a romantic, sitting in the tub with a woman like Bridges of Madison County.
you took a bath like a cowboy.
Yeah.
He's in a
1800.
big wash tub.
Yeah.
Did
He's
you-
had some small Asian woman come in. She's washing him. He's got his cowboy hat over his genitals.
You put
like,
you put your revolver on that little
on the little
stool.
table
Yeah,
with the
table.
little picture of water.
Yeah.
And then the lady comes in and she's like,
For a little extra, with $2 extra, I can get you a room for the night, and I'll let you take off my pantaloons.
and Bernie's like, "I'm not here to do that, ma'am. I'm here to do taxes.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, why don't you scrub my back a little bit? I'm going to get the hell out of this house of ill repute."
Sorry, Bernie.
We're going crazy,
You
Bernie.
you know what you're getting yourself into. I blame you. So, what else do we got to know about any sort of tax
Okay,
changes?
there's a couple other things just to give you some information. I mean, I really want to jump in there and
Oh, I know.
cut up with you guys.
I know you do. I know you
I
want to
know.
shoot your pistoleros, but let's do some
Yeah,
taxes.
there.
Let's
Yeah,
do some
yep.
taxes.
Yep. So anyway, there's a couple other things. Small businesses can apply for a SBA disaster loan. So
That's Tom's
that's
rap name. SPA Disaster Loan. Yo, son, you're going to love SPA Disaster Loan.
It's a B.
Oh, SAP.
SBA.
SAP.
Can we do that, Bernie?
I don't know. We'll have to see. But the idea is these loans are going to be let, and then if the people use it to sustain their business in the way of paying basic expenses and mainly employees and so forth, that parts of that loan may be forgiven. So.
Hey, all
right.
right.
Could
I
be
like
good.
that. Put us down for
Could be
2 of those, please.
Give me 2 SBAs and
Yeah.
July 15th. I'll take it to go.
I'll spring for the no content
Just put-
disaster loan.
Just put it outside my door and text me when it's here.
Just
and
put
drive
a bunch
away.
of money outside my door and ring the doorbell when it's there.
Yeah. Just
I'll
drive
text you when I've got all of it.
Yeah, I'll.
All
So,
right.
so
And if you don't happen to be
sorry,
if
Bernie.
you don't happen to be working for Tom and Dan or one of those other employers that I'm sure Tom.
Oh,
and Dan
like
can do
Butler's
this,
company,
but
Red
other-
Coat
other-
Media.
Not even a real company. By the way, he hasn't even made me write a
Red Coat
check.
Media.
I'm like, when do you want me to write to Red Coat Media? He's like, oh, still my name. I'm still working out the details. I'm like, what
He's
details?
trying to skirt his taxes.
Yeah.
Samantha did it in the first week of working here.
Butler got
Trying to
T-shirts
work-
printed up. It's him
He
wearing a
been
full
3 years.
British uniform.
3 years. Working out what details? It's going on.
Yeah. What happened to Red Coat Media? I think it's a front.
Money laundering. Sorry.
Get him.
So,
So is laundered money taxable? I got a question about that. Too. Okay.
Don't talk
So
about
anyway,
shops and
just-
car wash. Huh?
Just want to do a little service for your listeners here. They've got some new. If you do not keep your employment, you get laid off. There's a couple of new things here. Well, and or if it's related to the coronavirus, there's a new sick pay leave, and it's more than it requires the employer to pay for a period of time, and quicker and better.
We don't have that, do we? Because
Because
we don't pay for any of their stuff, right?
You will only to true employees. The other part of that is
Dodged a
if
bullet
that
on that
happens to
Butler touches
That happens
everything like
to
a
you.
toddler. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about you. You're good.
We're going to have a long talk with Butler after.
He touches everything. He's over at Publix. He's touching all the counters and he's fingering his teeth. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's a good thing we don't pay anything. You're as good as dead.
He brushes his teeth with his finger
Yeah, he
like
does.
a cowboy. Going back to
Yeah,
Cowboys.
it's all about Cowboys.
Stop!
Well, we're going backwards.
So, no, to get down to business, Bernie. So, taxes, your deadline got pushed back to July 15th. Second, you can, what was it now?
you might want to consider looking into getting an SBA disaster loan if you're a small business or large business for that matter. But I don't think the guys that do the big businesses are listening to
Sure.
us little guys.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So, and to get to fill out that loan application, like they can call you or can you help them with
Yeah,
that?
I suppose we could help them with that. Certainly, and they have to have some other information to put with that, like financial statements and tax returns, stuff like that. I think they're going to be kind of lenient on this, though, as far as letting the loans. And they're going to check the credit and so forth as well.
What about tax refunds? If you already filed your taxes and if you're on schedule, has anything been pushed back? We had somebody in our Twitch chat room ask if things have been pushed back.
I know people are waiting for the refunds, especially the people that have
Well, they're scared.
out of business,
Yeah.
out of work.
Well, I think if they filed for one, I mean, unless it's just been recently, they've gotten their money.
Right.
And I don't think there's an extra benefit for filing early, other than you've got the money now instead of it
Right.
waiting. And the other benefit might be that you're sitting here sweating it out, and you haven't done your taxes. And then this happens a lot. People we get done, and I say to them, well, if there was a way that you wouldn't have to pay some taxes, what's it worth to you? Well, no, I don't really do that, but we find out that they've got something coming.
Sorry, Bernie. When you tell
When
jokes,
you said that, when he said that he got me, I was like, I'm listening. I
know. I was like, what?
You totally got me.
Bernie is such a dry sense of humor.
But it was the long con. He sucked me in with his knowledge, and then when he said that, I was like, I'm listening. I want to not pay taxes.
So anyway, they may be getting some back, and then there's all that anguish and so forth, worrying about it.
Yeah. True.
And it's even better to get it done if you do owe, because then at least you'll know what it is and have a way to work with it. So just not doing it and letting it fester makes it really bad for people. I've had people that not just not done it for this year, but missed years over time. And they're just such a mess, worried about it. And, no matter how bad it is, they get to a point where they can work with it as opposed to just letting it fester. So the sooner that you do them, the better. And even if you owe, you've got it done, then you'll know what it's going to be. And the extension to pay is still there anyway. So,
right.
If you're worried, and if you're not, you should go ahead and get it done. And then use the time to figure out how you're going to pay it if you can't, and then and still file the taxes even if you owe and you can't pay right then. It still should be filed so that then you can start working on how to deal with that. And my guess is that there's going to be people that owe, and then they're going to have some other type of relief for them. But if you haven't filed, they're certainly not going to get that relief either.
Gotcha. Yes. So the number one thing is just go ahead and file now.
You got time. You got time to do it.
Yeah. They extended the deadline, so just go get it done. And if you're a small business that's affected, give Bernie a call. Here's the thing. I endorse you using. T&D Media, our business, uses Bernie, and
I look forward to our disaster relief loan.
And they've used Bernie for a long time. And
you know what? Just let me interject. The disaster's already there, and your guys missed the two of you. So you may be
Get him, Bernie. Get him, Bernie.
immediately qualified.
He's been spending too much time talking to Samantha. So look, I don't know what Sam's been telling you. She's pumping you full of lies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. When she goes and she tells you all the bad things, don't believe her, Bernie.
Don't believe a word she's saying.
Yeah. She's extra
She's lying
paranoid.
to you.
Yeah. She's a liar.
Yeah, she's a goddamn liar.
Everything she says.
Everything she. In fact,
don't believe her.
In fact,
delete
her as her client. Ruin her life.
Well, Bernie, if people want to give you a call or talk to you, the best way, go on your website, orlandocpa.net.
Yeah, my website's down now.
Yeah, it's down. I went to it. I went up to pull it up real fast. Your website's down. I was going to tell you that off the air, but if you're,
I don't know what's happened to it. I've got. I'm trying to get with GoDaddy to see why.
Has your website been coughing lately? Maybe chest congestion.
Yeah. It's in quarantine, but I'll get it up. But I can give you a phone number here. 407-677-1040. And the website should be back up.
Cool.
There you go. Well, Bernie, we always love talking to you. Please tell everybody in the office, give them some love from us. Thank you for all that you do, man. Stay safe, and if anything else happens, we'll reach out to you and talk to you soon.
All right. Excellent, guys.
All right.
All right,
Take care,
easy,
man.
Bernie.
See ya.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
I didn't know if we heard it. It sounded sad at the end.
No. It's just
all the cowboy talk.
We throw him for 10,000 loops. And Bernie is a straight-laced.
He's not used to this.
He's businessman.
I love it when he comes in here because we do rattle him, but he likes to play. So when we start playing, he's like, I want to bury the dog in the sandbox.
Yeah. He's the type of accountant you want because
he's a nice guy.
He's directly to the point. He'll explain everything to you, and he's a nice guy.
He's not fun, but he's normally wants to do the numbers.
Well,
you don't want to play around, make up stories about cowboy bats.
You don't want Jeff Dunham as you're doing.
Oh, I do.
Ventriloquy
On a stick.
We used to have an old accountants with
God. We used to get back a lot of money though. Wow.
With the GD Pac-Man arcade in his office.
Yeah, you know that things are
playing
bad.
Pac-Man.
You know that things
and
are
go
bad.
play Pac-Man. I'll tell you about your taxes later.
Honestly, this has been said to you as this has been said to you as well.
Damn it.
Tell me if you. We never thought of it in terms of this because we never had a legitimate business. We run this like a legitimate business. You can say what you want to, but this is a legitimate small business. We used to go get our taxes done, and our accountant would start the conversation by saying, "How much do you want to give back?"
Wow.
And we have to pull up a U-Haul, like a self-storage door to get into the...
Hey, roll that back down. I'm taking a dump in here.
Do you have air conditioning in there?
Yeah.
it's weird.
You could only leave it up for like a. So he's like, put that down. You let all the air out.
Yeah.
And then some old lady was sitting at like a makeshift crappy desk playing Minesweeper. And he was in the back, and you'd go in the back, and then just disheveled, old paneling, papers everywhere.
Bud Light clock.
Yeah, Bud Light clock. That's true. How do you remember that?
With the horses.
With the horses running.
He wanted that clock.
Yeah, it's a badass clock.
Yeah.
And then he'd ask you
It
how
made
much
him
you
Bud
want to get
regular.
back, and then you'd say something ridiculous, but then he'd make it happen. You'd be like, I want $14,000 back. He'd make it happen.
You know what?
Wow.
We need to start deep diving into some of, I believe, being bad at life, and I'm really familiar with this because at one time I was ultimate bad at life. And then through years and small advancements in my income and my wife just taking over my life, it's even itself out. But if I was in charge of it, it would probably go back there. But one of the traits of being bad at life is the ability to disregard or not think about your responsibilities and put them off. It's a form of procrastination, but to the point where you have the ability.
It's less than procrastination because procrastination requires the ability to think about pushing it aside.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I can just erase
Yes.
things that I need.
Procrastination is a actual process. You're not. If you eliminate the process of procrastination, you have what Tom has, which is the ability to not even
elimination.
go there. I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah, I can go into.
It is the process of elimination.
Yeah.
He's eliminated it in his brain.
Yeah, it's almost
not even
as
a thing to
if.
him.
Yeah, it's almost as if you don't even have another arm or something. So there's no reason to even do it. You have no concept of it.
And I know there are people listening that do this as well. And but there was a time in my life where I'd get a credit card bill or like let's say a credit card or some sort of collections agency was suing me, and I get the court paperwork and saying like you're being sued for this debt. I have no I would have the ability to look at it and be like that ain't good, and then throw it in the garbage and be like never happened.
Yeah, you got the memory of a goldfish.
because but I learned
like
it.
you're mad about it at first, like I gotta pay this, and then you immediately forget that you
How do
even
you
got
get-
anything in the
But
mail.
I would force it out. I'd be like, yeah, gone.
How do you force out though?
One trickle of blood comes out of his nostrils.
Yeah.
Superpower.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
It's a bad at life superpower.
what I'm most impressed in that when you're able to do that, what I'm most impressed in isn't the ability to push the actual thought of what you did, like a jury summons, throwing it in the trash.
Yeah.
Like what I'm more worried about with that would be it down the line and your ability to eliminate that. You have to eliminate the full process in order to get there. I'll never be able to do that because always in the back of my mind, because of my anxiety, there will always be that thing saying you got to pay the bill or you get a late fee or you're gonna get
all the repercussions.
it sits and it festers.
Another superpower: ignore repercussions because, or deal with them only the exact moment that they're coming to get you.
But what's weird about that with you though is that you are a planner.
Usually when they're arresting
and you
you.
do you are a planner and you do like to try and be one step ahead. You do like to try and predict. Because even you and I are different because like one of the major things I would say in our personalities that we're adamantly different because we won't argue, but we'll see things differently. Is that like I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, so let's just wait, kind of see what happens, then we'll make a decision. Whereas you more want to go, well, I think I know what's going to happen this way, so we need to prepare a little bit either way to make sure that we are prepared. And neither is right or wrong, but it's just weird to me that you like being prepared, but you also have the superpower. It's connected somehow.
Well, for things that that are important that don't I don't care about myself, so I'm easily able to ruin my own life.
Yeah, but now you have a whole family.
Yes,
so you can't
I
ruin
can't
your
do it.
life now.
And with this business, I have to then run through 10,000 scenarios.
Because you're
in my
good
mind.
at being prepared.
Yes, for things that are important that
Yeah, he
can
is. He
affect
no
other
plan
people.
Van.
No, but there are plans in place that you don't even know about that he's thought and toiled over for hours.
But but if it happened to do with me, for instance, like those
like him
scenarios,
going to the beach? No plan. But something revolving around here and something falling apart, he's thought about it a million times. Trust me.
I'll torture myself thinking about all the scenarios that could possibly happen for here because other people are involved. But for myself,
Right.
it just
That makes sense.
Like I'm just looking at how bad I was at life and what I did, and I'm like, how did I not like? There were
So my point is, you have the skill,
Right.
though. It's just not in the right. It's I don't even know how to explain it, but he
It's
has
selective.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's I don't even know
It's
how
mostly about business because his personal life seems to be in shambles.
Well, not anymore. Again,
No, his
I've
family-
solved that.
You let your wife handle most of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I
smarter.
solved it through
Just a better way to be.
giving the responsibilities to the responsible, and
Right.
then and doing it that way. But I do like for instance, I haven't done my taxes yet, and now that they extended it to July 15th.
Well, you know, small businesses were supposed to be done by March
March.
15th.
Well, Bernie and our accountants do all that.
Yeah,
I'm
he
talking about
done-
yeah,
personal.
but you have to get the ball rolling. I had to do it with Bernie.
No, I will eventually.
Right now,
But
we
now,
cowboy bath.
July 15th in
Yeah,
my
but
mind.
July 15th, I think, is for personal taxes, not for small business. That's still going to be earlier, right?
Yeah, but small business was March 15th. That's already passed.
Yeah, but it was while this was all going on, so I think they were giving people like an extension.
Yeah.
even for
I think
small
they did.
businesses.
Although the accountants and Bernie, they did a small business tax already. So now it's just our responsibility to go in there and do the personal taxes with them.
Which I'm letting my wife handle
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't do any of that.
And so,
We just
but
did it all at the same time.
Yeah, you can and you should.
yeah.
It's probably easier that way. But
another thing too, it's the opposite of what old people have, which you don't have time anxiety when you're bad at life. And I wonder if you're old and bad at life, if you have time anxiety.
no, you don't.
Because like
That's not something you're gonna gather as you get older.
old people get this thing where
I will be
if-
real bad,
if
though.
it's like 2 months away. My pop used to like he'd have a doctor's appointment with whatever it is, and it would be like 3 weeks away, and he'd be nervous about like wanting to remind me like, you're gonna pick me up at this time. I'm like, yes, probably. Like, and
Well, that's just because he knew you forget things. That's not.
well, no, but he and then he like it would be, like 3 weeks from now. It might as well be an hour from now. Like
Yeah.
it's just so soon now.
But he's giving you a heads up so you have time to plan around it and you don't forget. I know
Well,
this thing.
if he knew me,
I
he'd
have to
call me
remind
the
you
night
about
before.
everything, Tom.
I know. But he would just be like, I mean, there's a lot of older people that like.
Your old Tony Palmiotti.
Yeah, 8 months from now. Now it's a benefit in our company because he's always prepared. But he's like, this thing's 8 months away. It's right around the corner, which he's right because time does go fast. But in my mind, still 8 months, it might as well be an eternity. And months, like even
I usually throw about a month on everything for preparation. For
during
everything.
Yeah,
Having a baby might only need a month of preparation. Like I'm just saying that's it's my problem. I think I do that. I'm just like everything can be solved in about a month.
Yeah, I don't even look at it until days before or whatever. Like God, I'm 38 years old. Like this weekend, if I had plans, I wouldn't even think about it or pack my bags till Friday
Right.
afternoon. Like there's no urgency to me to get prepared. It just doesn't.
That does not make me feel good.
It doesn't. But I think the people are wired
no.
different.
See, what you don't understand is it
doesn't bother
should
me.
make you feel good because he's only going to do that for his own personal trips and what he does. If it were something that had to be done in here, he'd be in here
for the-
days
I agree to
ahead.
disagree.
For the business.
I've been a part of some of these
No,
plans,
I know,
and
I
I know
know.
things come down to the last minute.
It's a.
Well, some of those are out of our control. I'm just saying he's thinking about it.
It's a downfall for sure, but it is something. It's a trait that bad at life, procrastination, and the ability not to stress out about things that will have a horrible effect on your life. Like for instance, getting your license suspended. I've done that many times.
Well, yours was just expired, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
Not
paid-
suspended.
No, not
But
suspended.
it expired. Like I didn't even, and I knew I lied a little bit when I said I figured out it was over the weekend. I knew it was like it was a day. it was
Why'd you lie to us? We don't care.
It's a
Yeah,
week-
we're not going to judge you. We're the last people to judge you.
Yeah, because I mean,
Plus, we know you lie all the time.
the so much over amount of evidence towards scaring you guys into.
Would it make you feel worse or better if we were like, we know you lied? Or would it make you feel better if we were like, oh, over the weekend you found it out? Good job.
Just 100%.
Or don't say a word.
Both,
Just don't say a word.
Both the same to me. It doesn't matter.
Let's take a little break because we are up against one. When we come back, we'll just finish out the show with more. I've got an abundance of emails and voicemails. We'll just finish it out with that. More of that when we return. You're listening to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So when was it? 2 weeks ago or last week?
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, and they ran 2 weeks in succession. But what's weird is that this particular show hasn't been live. But obviously, with everything going on in our world, I don't know if that's something that they decided to just pull it. Because as far as I was concerned, the show Live PD was still going to be live. But obviously, with the coronavirus outbreak,
maybe because they didn't want the extra production personnel and cameramen with the officers, or it adds
no
an extra
idea. But that was my first thought.
Yeah. Just why even add extra people to a scenario only for entertainment? When the police
makes sense.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a liability.
Although when we heard that Live PD was going to be Volusia County, you got excited, and then I saw a bunch of BDMs post wait.
Volusia's a huge area, right?
Yeah.
Number one.
We got a lot of BDMs that live there.
A lot of BDMs that live there.
Bike Week.
My hometown, Bike Week.
Then spring break.
I'm Volusia born and raised. I've always enjoyed it, but it does get a little spicy in Volusia County.
Yeah.
So I was excited.
Deltona,
I was excited to see what would happen. But to tell you the truth, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and there wasn't that much going on,
No.
which I guess is a roll of the dice because you can't predict crime. But we were like, oh, this is going to be.
I'd actually like for it to be a quiet night for these guys' safety. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But on the line with us right now, we have somebody who participated. This is listener Dave from Volusia County. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh,
No
thanks for
problem.
being on the show.
So, Dave, tell us about the whole process of Live PD. Were all the officers briefed in it, or was it only a select few that the cameras followed around? How does it work?
Yeah, exactly. It was only they rode with three of our deputies, and those three deputies, the sergeant, and then the kind of the higher ups in the agency. They all sat down with the production crew and just kind of a meet and greet type of scenario where they tell them what they expect, what the camera guys do, when they're going to be filming, when not. What to expect as far as with them on scene, because it's being out there on scene, it's ever changing, ever evolving. You never have any clue what you're going to get into. So we prep them, they prep us, just a little what to expect type of thing. But they rode with my unit. It's a kind of like a street crimes type of unit. So although they were only riding with two of our officers, two of our deputies, we were all going to be with them on scene. So they went to a call, we were all going because we kind of all ride together.
Gotcha. Now, do they choose the deputies by their personality? I always wondered that, when the Live PD production crew comes in, and then you
Good explainer, good talker.
Yeah, you got some guy that's maybe a bit of a, for instance, in that documentary McMillions, the one FBI agent was like a goofball, and he made the actual documentary way better just because of his personality. Do they handpick the officers they're going with, or is it up to the department to assign the officer?
I'm pretty sure the department did. They rode with a couple of our training officers who obviously know the ins and outs of the agency and things like that, and they are well-spoken. They can teach, so when they're explaining things to the cameras and stuff, it's like they're talking to a trainee.
Yeah. They do a really good job. You can always tell the guys that are really good, and you can tell the guys that are not.
Yeah, we had a couple of those guys on the unit, and we were like, just make sure, go stand over there. Go stand over there.
So, Dave, with Volusia County, because it's a pretty big county, where's the majority of crime happening? Is it closer to the beach? Where are what are we looking at? Maybe Deltona? It was bad in Deltona for a while.
You nailed it. Your stomping grounds, Deltona. It's pretty much the training grounds. When we bring out new deputies, we find them there.
Training grounds.
It really is, man, because that's where you're going to get all of the experience. They say 1 year in Deltona is like 3 years anywhere else in the county.
No!
I told you.
No.
Take that, everybody who sends me emails. They're like, we're talking so bad about Deltona.
Oh, I get an email. 'cause
I
my
live
dad,
there.
Remember what my dad said? You should
Hellhole.
drop. My dad goes, you should drop a goddamn bomb on it. My dad
It's not that
hated.
Deltona is horrible.
Oh, I
it's
hated
just
it.
There's a lot of people there, you know.
Yeah, it's
a
just
lot of horrible
people. It's
Yeah,
just.
I know it's not the bullet, it's the person that's shooting
Oh,
or whatever they
stop
say.
it,
Yeah, we know why. Yeah, like if if all the greatest people in our society live there, it wouldn't be a problem. So now, what kind of calls did you get? Any like inkling of what they were looking for?
Yeah.
Or, like, how does it work? Because when they get a call, they like the main production company know so they can go to them. Did you get any behind the scenes peek on how the live PD like actually worked?
Yes and no. I mean, they just wanted us to do business as usual. There's nothing crazy. Of course, I'm sure they wanted like that toothless guy that's going to make pretty good TV that they're interviewing on the side of the road or something like that. But they didn't say anything like that. They're like, we want you guys just to do your thing. What exactly you do? We're more of like a warrant squad and a proactive unit. So I'm sure that they appreciated that. But even, I mean, when you look at the show, they get out with anybody. So a disabled vehicle on the side of the road that airs. We had a couple good fights that we went to, and those didn't air. And then when you watch the show, you look at it, and instead of during the time when we're going through this fight call, we thought it would be a good call. They showed a disabled vehicle on the side of the road. So I guess you don't really know what they're looking for, but we were just handling business as usual.
Interesting.
Did they end up showing on, because we heard from a lot of our listeners that there wasn't that much coming out of Volusia County, and it was that just kind of.
I watched for the first hour. There wasn't much. They weren't going there, so
Yeah.
it almost seemed like they were having a lull.
Did you guys get any calls that were aired?
Yeah, the last day was probably the most exciting day. We had 3 stolen vehicles that we were behind and locating, and a car burglary that had just occurred. A stolen tag. I think that one aired where we located a vehicle with a stolen license plate on it, and that was all on the last day. But yeah, I don't know what makes the cut and how they figure out what's going to air or not, but.
Did you, while this was, going on and everything, did they give you an inclination if they're going to continue to maybe roll this out for you guys, or was this like a 1 weekend, 2 weekend deal, and then that's it?
I think this was more or less like a 2-week trial period for them and for the agency to see if it was going to be a good mesh. I can't speak for what the higher ups have planned. I think that the guys told us they had a good time. I mean, they enjoyed working with us. We enjoyed working with them. It didn't appear to be a nuisance on either end. So maybe in the future.
Cool.
Dave, let me ask you a question. This is more a personal question that I've always wondered.
I don't know where he's going.
Oh, man.
One night we were driving back from playing poker at Jimmy Colbert's house.
Why you got to implicate Jimmy Colbert?
And we were driving back in my old truck, my wife's old truck, and she was driving.
Penny in her mouth.
We get to
Heater on.
We get to Providence in Deltona. You're familiar, right there. And
yes, I'm familiar.
We're going down the street, and
Take a left on Montecito.
we get pulled over because one of my lights was out on my tag. There's 2 tiny light bulbs on each side of the tag.
Yep.
One of them was out. So
just your luck.
Yeah. So they pulled us over, and they my wife got out of the car. They asked her to get out of the car.
blue light.
Her license was suspended,
Yeah.
and in which she told. Now this is 10 years ago. She told the cop that
I'll show you my soapy butt.
that she didn't. It was back when they were suspending licenses for running tolls and not paying them or whatever.
Yep.
So her license was suspended, and then she told the police officer that she was driving because my license was suspended because of the same thing, running the tolls. In which he said, "Well, knowing your license is suspended and having it is a crime." And then, so I got a ticket, a notice to appear in court. And then the guy took our unscrewed our license plate and then took it and then said, you're not allowed to drive this car. You both have a suspended
Well, unless he
license.
took the keys, I'm driving the car.
And I've always wondered, is that standard operating procedure to take someone's license plate off their car? Because I was like, wait a minute, this is, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that either.
You took my license plate.
It's a thing, and not always. When we run your tag, or when I run your tag, sometimes the state of Florida will have it flagged. The DMV will have it flagged where there's a seized tag order, and I have no discretion, and I have to take your tag, and we just submit it back into the state. I don't understand. I don't know what makes the criteria for that, but it's a thing.
Joke's on you. I stole another one. It's behind my seat. Put that back on.
Yeah, okay. I guess it is a thing. And then
that's why when I put mine on, I put it so no one can take it off.
So, Dave,
they'd have to break it. I have to rip it off the back of my car.
I know there was a bunch of stories about like spring breakers in Daytona. Has that calmed down a lot?
It has. We still, you get the speed weeks, bike week, and spring break usually back to back, but the coronavirus kind of hindered some of that. I think they even tried shutting down bike week, but those people are still here. They just closed the venues and stuff and are missing out on money. But it's usually when you're going to see the most of your crashes and stuff. Like the Cabbage Patch and anywhere in East Side, Beach Side, Daytona.
Where do bikers go when all the bars are closed?
I have no idea.
Library?
They went to the Cabbage Patch and the campground out there where they do the coleslaw wrestling. They still camp out there. I don't know.
Oh, stinky!
You still do that?
Oh my God!
Holy!
You're 65 years old.
Do you think that tradition will continue?
Oh yeah. As long as there's trash people, it'll continue. Are you crazy, man? Are you crazy?
I just thought that it'll die out.
As long as you're allowed to buy albino snakes, they'll be bought by trash people. As long as parrots, you name anything trashy, as long as it's out there, it's going to continue to happen until we're all dead.
That's right.
And Dave, have you had any yahoos tell you when you pulled them over or they're wasted or something, tell you that they had the virus to try to get out of anything? Because there's memes and all this stuff.
I've seen the memes. No, that hasn't happened yet, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to react when it does happen. I think I'm going to have a pre-made sign that says you're going to jail or something funny.
Just a simple little card that says you're going to jail.
Oh, you put that on there. Then they refuse to get in the car.
And then you say, I'm setting your car on fire. I'm just going to set your car on fire with you inside of it.
Where Volusia County ends at the north end. Does it?
It's huge.
St. Augustine too?
No, St. Augustine is St. Johns County.
So where does Volusia County end northwise? The north end of Daytona?
No, north end of Ormond Beach.
Ormond.
Yeah,
Beach.
Ormond.
Yeah. And then it goes down all the way to the St. Johns River, right?
Yeah, down to Tuttle's neck of the woods in Oak Hill.
No, that must be bad. Oh yeah, do you have a patrol?
He's falling into a conservative news hole lately. I'm a little worried about him. Because when you're isolated like that, and it's it can make you crazy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, imagine the amount of scribblings on his walls with a Sharpie.
What's the worst drug out there now? Still the
crocodile,
opium.
No, meth is pretty horrible, just because of everything that it takes to make it. It's all just corrosive, caustic materials that people are.
But is a little bit of meth okay? I kind of feel
microdose meth.
I think everything a little.
That is not
bit.
my professional advice, by the way.
No. You're a police officer.
I mean, you get it from a regular doctor.
Yeah.
It's amphetamine salt. It's fine.
Just a little bit of everything in the morning, I feel like, will get you good. Rub a little Coke on your teeth.
Do you know anybody from the drug task force that there was one listener a long time ago, this is like 10 years ago, that broke down my neighbor's door because across the street they were running
Man,
all
you've lived
types
in
of drugs.
some pretty nice areas. I gotta say.
And then they're like, hey, drunkie, I was out across the street busting your neighbors. I'm like, you're my friend.
Your neighbors.
And they I brought a lot of people living in there.
Hey, do the thing that Steve makes you do. The whole Wednesday.
Have you ever? Do you get to knock down doors or anything cool?
That's usually the SWAT guys. No, we don't typically do that. If we go into a house or if I see somebody inside a house with a felony, we can. We have and we will, but it's rare.
If you, when's the last time you shot your gun?
I think it's a good question.
Because has it been years, or does it happen every once in a while?
If you go,
I feel like it's rare.
For training, we do it a couple times a year, 2-3 times a year.
No, like on
Yeah,
sim.
I mean, like during a scenario.
I've fired mine during actually working one time.
All right.
Okay.
That was a couple years
when
ago.
people
And
were
it's
running and he
hilarious.
shot in the air and he said, "Halt!" I've always wanted to do that. It would be very hard for me as a cop. Let's say I got called to a house that their burglar alarm is going on,
Yeah.
and let's say it had been burglarized, and I go inside, and I'm looking around, and I look over, and it just appears that the TV was ripped off the wall. I walk the perimeter, I clear all the rooms, and it was really just the TV. It's going to be really hard for me not to take my nightstick out and smash a couple figurines on my way out. And that's just me as a cop.
Yeah.
It's just going to be hard for me if I look over and I see that some guy bought some $280, Spawn figurine. I'm going to at least knock its head off. Just for good measure.
I'll smash all the ceiling fan lights.
Yeah. Like if I walk down, I clear the second floor, I'm walking down your staircase, I look on the staircase wall, and it's all these pictures of your children as they aged, and I'm smashing all the glass out of them.
I'll smash all the wine bottles you put on your wine holder above your kitchen because you thought it was fancy.
Yeah, smash them all. You have that, by the way.
I know.
Tom has that. They call it Dustville, USA. Another thing I do just to be mean. This is the
I'll
worst.
smash those dusty wine bottles.
This is the worst one you can do. You open their fridge. I clear the house first because I'm there I'm not a prick.
Yeah.
Well, I am, but I mean, I do my job.
Yeah.
The house is
I'm
clear.
safe,
You're
yeah.
safe, but I open your fridge, I pull out your meat drawer, your crisper, and I smash them good because they won't jump right, and everything will fall out, and that'll be a secret one. You'll never know that one until later that night. You go to get a snack, and then you go in there, and all your meats and cheeses are flying everywhere. Your crisper's smashed. That's how I get you. Smash your crisper.
Yeah, that's all bad. That's all bad.
Sorry, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. Well, look, Dave, anything's better than Deltono. Dave's like, I'll sit on the line all day.
Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate
Stay
you.
safe out there, man.
You giving us a call.
Thanks, guys.
Take it
Really
easy.
appreciate it.
All right,
no
brother.
problem.
Take care. See ya.
See you, Dave.
What a good dude.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for calling in.
Maybe they'll come back, Live PD.
I think they probably
Yeah.
will, but like right now, I don't think we're going to get them for
Right.
a while. So we got to get out of here. Guys, stay safe out there. Listen to what people are telling you. Stay inside and don't travel or try to flatten the curve, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah.
all talking about.
Just listen to the professionals.
Yeah, not us. But just be wise and be good to your friends and neighbors. Be sweet to them.
Yeah.
It's important. TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. Anything else?
That's it.
Guys, we'll see you tomorrow.